So okay. We'll just revise what we did yesterday, and then yeah, we'll move on to um, new topics. So um, yesterday we were learning about exceptions, and we looked at various exceptions and what it means, and what is a trace back, and how do you handle it using try and except block. And yeah, we saw now some code snippets which are here. These things. Yeah. So, and you can have as many levels of exceptions. In fact, you can have nested exceptions, just like for loops. And yeah, you can um, work with that. Okay. So exceptions are nothing but it stops the execution of the program if it's not handled, and operating system will take care of like releasing the resources. So just remember that. And yeah. So today we learned, and also we learned about um, we tried to fetch news from Times of India. We were not successful. Yeah, you can try to dig deeper, and we will understand how to ask um, the prompts, which are this. This part is called prompts. So, and there are different modes. Yesterday we also looked at agent mode, where it modifies the code by itself, and then we need to accept, review the code, glance it, and then if it looks okay, accept it, or else you ask one more time and keep doing this. Okay. So let us. The important part of all this activity, writing code and building software, comes down to in today's world comes down to how best you ask the LLMs, the models, um, so that you get the desired output. So I'll just talk a little bit about prompt engineering and why it is called engineering and so on. Let us note it. Okay. So what is happening when you ask the GPT, right? Any GPTs. So when you shoot a question, so in um, natural language, so you send it to what is it called? You send it to the models in the backend. So what are these models, and who are doing this? Are I think you already know, but yeah. So you can choose what sort of models at this point. So GPT 4.0, you can choose any company's models. Okay. So when you download when you download any code editor, you can set it to different things. Okay. So what this does is, so LLMs, they have like large like data is like it's in terms of like it's like a huge mountain, and when you ask something, so it's like Himalayas, like mountains. Okay. And then you want to get one small piece of like one like stone, one particular thing about the entire mountain, right? So how does it process? We do not know, and we you can read about it, or you can learn about it within in your own time, how it works and how it learns, and what are different types of learning and so on. So those are interesting things, but yeah, we don't, as a developer, you don't have to know every parts of this. How does this LLM works? So what we are interested is, how do I ask these LLMs in natural language so that I get an output which is desirable, uh, and which is optimal or okay for me. So it's, you will never know whether it is perfect for you because you have an idea and you're asking for help. So it will definitely help. So, and how much you need and to what extent you need is what this prompt do. So this prompts, when you ask a question, how to ask a question. So imagine there is a, like there is a professor who knows everything about the world, how it works, right? So when you ask him a question, you need to be like very specific, and then you need to give the context of what you are asking. Okay, and you have to say that these are the examples that I am looking for, and then you must probably will also ask that I have tried some things already, but those things doesn't work. Um, and tell me, like telling him not to like think about the other things. Uh, so those are like constraints. So if I want a snippet of some image processing, so if I go and ask, give me code snippet in which does the image processing. Okay, image processing. So this is like very vague um, thing to ask. So image processing has like so many different subjects and so many different contexts. So it will definitely either it will ask you like, okay, what part of things you need and things like that, and probably it will output a generic code with some library imported and then some processing involved. So this is not going to help unless you have you're just fiddling with your prompts. So that is the reason you need to have some sort of idea in your mind. So let us take image processing itself, image processing, and what you need to do. So you need to come up with, um, first is like high level design and all these things. So let us get into like low level design. So you tell it that I'm working on what you are working on, or what you setting the context. So I'm working on say face recognition, uh, and then what exactly you're looking in face recognition. Probably I want to say identify the expressions, and probably you're working on a software which identifies expressions which are suspicious. Suspicious. And probably you want to ignore the kids because their expressions are not like may not be relevant at that particular you know um, in that particular project. Maybe you're looking for like some age groups. So you can also specify, like, that is a constraint. So you can also specify don't look at um, kids and so on. So and then you can also give some measurable things which are like, okay, so these expressions can also rate these expressions um, to what extent. For example, somebody is 99% suspicious, report that, and then look at a face, uh, and then tell how on a scale of 100 or 10 how suspicious they look. Okay. So when you ask these models, probably it has learned about facial expressions and what they mean in this like huge mountains, like one part of it. and it may also have some inhibitions. For example, um, so people having long beard, so it might uh, think that they can be terrorists, because most of our, when you search for like terrorists, one of the common attributes or characteristics they have is like beard, right? So it is also possible that if you're building a software on top of this learning, you are it could go wrong, because there could be like really nice people who have the beard. So uh, whatever it has learned internally, so it's not perfect, it's just like humans, and it can give you outputs which are having inhibitions, and which are having there are some problems. So for example, if you search for like I think some word, so it would give some context about slavery and things like that. Because people have written blogs, and there are videos on YouTube, and the news about, say, all the gangsters are black men or something like that. So depending on this data, it can form its own opinion and give it back to you. So how to avoid this is by giving these constraints. So this is one of the constraints. So like this. So you can give as many constraints as you want, and you can say that you should not look examples like this. And you can also define what does suspicious mean if you're an expert in that. So what does suspicious mean? So look, probably I'm just guessing. So like if somebody has a bent face and not looking at any given particular object, like if they are uh, looking here and there, probably it is an expression for suspicious. So you can also specify um, at that level, and then identify expressions. It has got a lot of expressions. You can give the context, and you can also give this some sort of numbering or some sort of measurable things. Okay, so there are several ways to ask. There are several patterns to ask, but general um, um, way of asking is, it's like as if you're talking to a professor who knows everything. So it can give a lot of information, but may not be specific to your own thing. So there are different types of prompting. So one is I'll just clear all the drawings. So one is called like there is no examples given, and I think it's called zero shot or something like that. I was just reading. So it's called as zero shot, no examples given. Okay, and then there is give one example. I think it's called one shot or something like this. Okay, so you give one example, and yesterday we gave one example in news, right? So it's saying that okay, this is one of the examples. Look for these sort of things, and you can give several examples. I think many shots or something else. So this is one way to do it, and there are some patterns. For example, you might have heard about like SMART goals and such things, right? So specific, measurable, actionable, something like this. So you can also use this. This is a pattern like this. So there are several patterns, and you set the context. So I'll just show you how a typical or how good prompts look like. So I'll just and then we'll try to understand uh, how you can form similar things. Yeah. Uh, and you don't have to remember. Let me just. Practice here. What's this? And try to understand how it works. Okay, so why this is important is natural language is going to be like the uh, basic thing for anything that you are going to write. So you need to ask in such a way that it gives some proper output. Okay, so these are some examples. So you can see that explain recursion in Python like to a 10-year-old user simple. This is very it has got few parts. Let us look at what are those parts. So explain recursion. This is a concept that you're looking for. And in Python, this is you're going to be like specific to a language. And then to whom? To a 10-year-old. That means it's like you are still you're trying to reduce the problem. And this is a constraint that you're telling that, okay, uh, give do not look at like this as a concept where adults are trying to understand. So that is what you're indirectly saying. And then using a simple analogy. So this is one of the outputs that you are expecting. Okay. So let us generate this. Okay. So it has given analogy and it has given some code. Okay. You can also provide in a way, for example, uh, um, working on recursive program. Uh, you are top programmer in a company like say Google. Um, I want you to discuss about various types of recursion. Um, and then this is called as role playing. So you can also ask chat GPT to like to play a role. Here you're we are trying to ask the model to be a top programmer, and for every different role you'll get different outputs. So uh, it's like huge like mountain of information, and you are trying to look at the data in somebody else's perspective. So you're asking GPT to form a role and then look at that. Okay. And then and give examples in Python. Uh, okay, I will come to constraints later. So this is called role playing. So you can see here. So at this moment, we understood something about recursion. Recursion is calling a function within its own context. Like countdown is called here, and there is some constraint here where it can break out of the loop, because if you do not provide this, it will. Yesterday we were studying about stacks, right? So it will just keep the functions in the stack, and it will go infinitely, and then programs will crash because you're going to populate the memory or RAM allocated for this particular program, and then it will operating system will uh, kill it. Okay. So that is why it's called as stack overflow error. And you might have heard about the popular website where we look for solutions in coding, right? That is named after that, stack overflow. Okay. So you can see that it has given just example. And if you read this particular article which it has generated, you have no idea about what types of recursions are there and how else you can uh, do the recursions. Okay. So, but if you look at this particular output, it um, knows how it should behave, how in what perspective, and it is trying to give more examples. So here you can see that there is something called as tile recursion, there is head recursion, there is tree recursion, there is indirect recursion, and so on. So this is how the by just by changing the perspective, you are generating or um, you're generating outputs which are beyond your simple prompting like we did here. So similarly, you can also provide, say, for example, some website and say that, okay, as somebody, you look at this website and give me some tips. For example, it could be stock market. You're a top stock analyzer, and give me like top stocks for next week or something like that. So probably it will do, and you have to provide the data. So there are other ways to provide contexts as well. So you can also upload prompts can like go grow even bigger. For example, give me examples of big prompts which are organized. So you don't have to remember, but just remember that you have to ask in certain format, and uh, these formats you should be aware about these formats, and you can go to GPTs and you can actually go and ask that, okay, give me some example prompts, and you can tweak it. So okay, let us just look at this. Um, okay, so if you look at this particular thing, okay. So this is one of the examples that it gave. So this is one of the patterns that you can try to use it. So you're an expert Python developer, security analyst working at top tech company. So this has become your role play. So this part is your role. So this is your actual task, what you are expecting out of the prompt. And yeah, this is one more it's a task, but you can ask like it is like what do you call it, um, like reassuring. It's like verifying is a good term, and self verification, and this is one of the like examples. So you can see that we have written this in such a way that it almost looks like a proper, well documented document, right? It's like probably like a book which has the content list, and then there is some examples and things like that. So if you're able to generate this sort of prompts, then let us look at what output it provides. Okay. And yeah, this is one of the other prompts for different things. So in this prompt, we are also asking additionally, you're also asking for what sort of output you want. So yesterday we tried to like collect the news in list, and then we try to print it. So you can also provide output format. This is like almost like if you're working in a company, it looks like as if it's a design document, and there is bulleted points and so on. Okay, input, output, and so on. So this is another example. Similar thing, like you're doing a role play, you're a programming instructor, and then these are the things that you're asking for. And this is the like generic or this is a pattern that you can learn and try, so that you don't ask it in a vague form and generate the code. Okay, and also you need to know about before. So in order to arrive at this place, these prompts. What's it, not scrolling at these prompts. So the basic idea is you should have the capability to turn your imaginations into words, right? So that is what your that is like your the latest skill. So coding, these LLMs will take care, and you have imagined something, and at the moment you are the skill that you are developing or you should be developing is using English language, but you don't need to be like a writer, but you should be able to cut that imagination into smaller pieces and then organize the information in a way that even if you come back and read that information, you should be able to like decode that. Okay, I had asked this for these things, and then this is what I was expecting, and this serves as a document for yourself. And then you can just put this document or upload. Even you can upload the document here. You can upload that particular prompt in a text pad, and then you can ask GPT to stick to that prompt. So one of the disadvantages of using prompt is there are two things with two hurdles that you'll face. One is long context. So now it has improved a little bit. So what happens is you keep coding for like 2 3 days or a week, say 1 week or something like that, and your context that you have asked for a Python program, and it is generating the code and so on. So you assume that you are talking to a person or somebody who has memory just like we humans, right? You're asking a professor or a friend or a teammate or something like that. So we humans sort of automatically remember the when you say the context, you remember that what happened in the past. So historical thing is not always right in a historical this thing. So LLMs are not as good as humans to fetch the historical context and give you the answers. So probably soon after 1 week, like the next day, on a seventh day, it could say that it could ask you like, do you want program in Python, like this. So you'll feel that okay, I have been writing program in Python so long, so why are you asking it again? So it's like you'll have to start from scratch again. So in such cases, what you do is you keep your document like this in the context or the prompt that you have generated. So um, and keep that in a text pad. It serves as design document, or it serves for you. It serves as a design document. For GPTs, it serves as context. So you can again upload that and say that stick to this context, and this is the context that you are having, and then you will get pretty good responses, like reasonable responses. So that is one thing. Second thing is you might have heard about hallucinations. So now people are solving that problem. So this is one of the things that is happening in currently. So hallucination is something just like human brain, right? So it may assume things and it may give information, some unrelated information, which is connected to it by some way, but not in the way that you expect. For example, um, so you say that apples are red and so on, and then at one moment you're fetching, you're working on apples are red and thinking that this is your context, and um, at some point of time maybe it will talk about red skies, or it will start talking about sky or something like that. So there is no context between the sky and apples, but there is like some common context here. Apples are red and red. So maybe it sort of jumps from that context to some other context, and like it will generate some crazy outputs. Okay, so this is called as hallucination. So how you can avoid this hallucination is, hallucination usually happen when you have like very casual or unstructured um, contexts. So if you stick to such proper um, way of asking the prompts, you are going to reduce the hallucinations. So, okay, these are the things, basic things about like prompt engineering. And you might wonder that why it is called engineering. It's like, too big of a term to use, right? So, yeah, even I thought like that. And yeah, so whatever it is called, but now we cannot change the name. So, why they have named it as engineering, prompt engineering. So this is like, I would recommend, there is a, you can go to Google and, find out different types of prompting and things like that. Just be aware of it so that you can ask it here. Okay. So I'll tell one more technique and how to use multiple GPTs. GPT-1. I'll come back to this. GPT-2 and so on. Okay. Okay. Let's go back here. Yeah. So, okay. One of the yesterday we were talking about stacks, right? So there is a stack, and then you make a function call, and you sort of finish that and come back to that. So just now I was explaining that, okay, I was at this context, so it's like a function call, and in between, before finishing this, I went to the other context and came back again here. This is like a function call. So we humans are like wired to think in that way. So you can think of functions in such terms. So okay, coming back here. So what was I explaining? Okay. So why it's called as prompt engineering is because all the engineering discipline, right? So it has few steps which are similar to what we're doing. One is you want to build something, and few characteristics, which is like it has got a design, it has got, and your things can keep changing, right? Requirement changes, and it has got a iterative model in the sense that when you develop something, it is not the end product in the first go, right? So it has, you sort of iterate, and you have got verification models, verification method, and then there is this is nothing but quality assurance. Okay. And then there is some business use case. So this is common in all the engineering. So if you come up with a design, you have something in your mind, you think about a product, you design it and reiterate it, trial and error, and then there is prototyping, and yeah, and then you sort of break that into different parts, and then allocate it to different teams, and then you do the same thing for each of these components, and iterate to a point where you reach almost that you had imagined. So it can keep changing, but yeah, you're happy with that, and the product is good. So exactly the same thing happens even in the prompt engineering. So we can see that there is a structure, and then there are like uh, separate components, and this is not the like end prompt, in the sense that you can modify this prompt and keep on adding multiple constraints or requirements and so on, and this thing keeps changing. So that is one of the characteristics that is common between engineering and prompts. And also then you sort of verify the output. So you can say that do not hallucinate, and use this context. These are the examples and so on. So that is like cross verification. Okay. So okay, that is about like why it is called the, prompt engineering. And resources that I would recommend is, there is a, I think it's free. If you go to Google has prepared a nice course on, it's about, I think it's about 10 hours on prompt engineering. You can just, read about it and then like look at that video and then see how things are working. And then you don't have to remember that, but you need to be aware of that. So what you can do is, why you don't have to remember is this. I'll tell you how I am doing and how people are doing. Yeah, other people are doing. Of course, I have learned from other people. So you have an idea. So from the idea, do not go to your final prompt is your this one, right? This is your final prompt that you need to ask. Okay, this is your copilot. Okay, final place. But how do you reach at this place? Is like so. This is one of the models. Like there are several models. You can choose one of them. Um, what generally people who have been using prompts do is, you have an idea and you sort of brainstorm it. And with whom are you going to brainstorm? Is with one of the chat GPTs. So what I typically do is write down the idea on a paper, just some small diagrams or just small things, and then brainstorm with chat GPT. So chat GPT is really good with conversation and breaking down large problems into smaller problems. And then you can generate, you can ask it. So now you're just brainstorming, just like two normal but non-engineering people are talking. And then you sort of get additional information. And then you collect all this additional information and structured brainstorming notes. And then let me do brainstorming, and you get some notes and pick up notes that you want. And using that notes, you can actually go to some other GPT, which is better than chat GPT. In terms of, chat GPT is good for like generic, this one of course is good for like good enough for our purposes, but there are better chat GPTs for specific purposes. For example, for research, probably it is DeepSeek. Okay. For something which does not have inhibitions, so GPTs like perplexity is good. Perplexity. So there are several uh, places. So you can brainstorm on chat GPT. You can go to either DeepSeek for your some sort of if you have that project contains research, you can go to DeepSeek and ask it to about research about some things. You get a lot of information, uh, or you can go to Perplexity or both the sites and get. You can ask Perplexity to come up with requirements. So this is Perplexity is. I have found Perplexity is better than ChatGPT in coming up with requirements. So you can ask this to come up with requirements. And even here, at every moment, you are sort of prompt engineering. For example, at this moment, I'll say that you are my teammate. You are teammate with whom I'm trying to brainstorm. Or you can also say that you are my teammate of 20 years experience in software engineering, and brainstorm with me with this thing and make a generate notes. Okay. And then you can have conversation, like do not stop at like one prompt, because it looks like you have got everything that you need, but do not stop at one prompt. At least go on like 5 steps and 10 steps, so that you sort of understand what it is generating, and then you are making notes, and then you are refining over it. So that process is always there. So you're a teammate, and then you do this, use this role. And when you go to research, you say that, okay, these are the list of things that I have, I want to do. Go and research about each of these topics and come up with actionable items or something like that. And then you have another document. So you have one document here, you have two documents here, and then you go to Perplexity and say that as system designer or architect who writes um, who writes requirements and sorry, who reads requirements and comes up with high level design HLD and low level design. And you can ask for specific things. For example, additionally, I would ask, additionally, make sure that it is security compliant. Like it might generally be while developing something, we ignore some of the common things like security, observability, and so on. Observability is nothing but like you are running your software somewhere in the cloud or somewhere outside, and you need to watch out for like how good it is running. So it is called as observability. Okay, and you can include these things in perplex. Sorry, it's I find it difficult to pronounce perplexity to refine that, and it will come up with a nice document. Okay, so let us do this exercise, and I'll tell you how good it looks from vague idea to generating the code. Okay, so let me take some example. I have not thought about it, so I'm just going to think about an example. So if you have any ideas, you're free to give. So let me think about, say, mm, I'll open a new chat. So at this point, I do not have anything in my mind. So I'm coming up with an idea. So generally, I write it down on like notepad or a paper like this and think about it. Like say, for example, I want to build cyber security tool, which can scan the code and probably give some information, generate some dashboard, generate report in JSON and things like that. Okay, so in my uh, mind, it is just cyber security tool. Okay, so I'm going to ask it. I am ideating about cyber security tool, which can be used to scan code and also the say uh, infrastructure where it is running infrastructure uh, to find vulnerabilities. So this is one part. So this is my overall idea, and I'm going to ask the chat GPT to play a role as a teammate with 20 years. So if you do a typing mistake, don't worry to like fix it. It will understand what you're talking about. If it's a typo, don't worry to like fix it. As a teammate of 20 years experience, um, I want you to brainstorm. You can use different words. I want you to discuss or something like that. Brainstorm about this idea and what are you expecting out of it. Okay. Uh, Come up with notes that I can read about. And I'm going to ask it, uh, say also specify suggest some tools, suggest some. So it's like you can now observe that we are expecting our imagination. For example, I just wanted a security tool. Then I added like structure to find vulnerabilities specifically, and so on. So like your idea starts growing, right? So suggest some. I'm going to write tools, but I may think that okay, tools. If it generates all the tools, probably it also suggests tools which are not open source or which are not free. So while writing these requirements, I also make sure that okay, I try to be more specific, or more than being more specific, I'm trying not to be vague. So vague, in the sense that vague enough to get more ideas, but not so vague that I run into new problems, such as some open source um, tools in your notes. Okay, let us just give this prompt. So this prompt has the parts that we discussed, right? Idea, a role play, and what you are expecting, and some additional thing that you want. I haven't tried this, so this is first time, and I want to show you how things work. So yeah, it is thinking about, because of my login, it knows that my name is Dikant. It has come up with something. Okay. For example, I know about SQL injections, but I do not know about XSS. So maybe when I look at this particular features and capabilities and like what it has come up with. So I've asked it to come up with nodes, right? So that is the reason it has come up with like structured nodes. And you can see that there are several parts. And I'm going to read about this. I'm going to spend some time on this and make sure that there are um, there are no nothing. I'm satisfied. So that's the right word. Make sure that I'm satisfied because I know what I'm trying to build. So this is one thing. Okay, these are good, and I'm going to ask. So either you can copy it to somewhere, and then so I'm not going to iterate here because it's going to take a lot of time. But just once you read, you will definitely come up with new thoughts. So keep asking it to come up with some notes. Okay. So I'm going to ask. So since I was like, this is one of the patterns or techniques, right? So give me, either you can copy paste this, or I can ask, give me uh, this notes in printable text format. Okay. So the reason that I'm doing is I'm going to jump to another GPT where I can take this and get more out of it. Okay. So meanwhile, while it is thinking, I'll just open something else. I'm going to say DeepSeek. Uh, let's see. So you can so if you start using DeepSeek, there are multiple more. So you can also like, it is very good for research. Okay. So if I do not, if I want specific parts for, say for example, this is one of the tools, some tool called as OWASP. I can actually take this and copy paste here and ask DeepSeek to like go deep into that and give me tools which are based on OWASP and so on. So I'm going to take this and put it. Generally, I put it on a notepad so that I remove all the emojis and some parts which I don't want. Okay. Uh, Below is the list of features and features uh, for a cyber security tool I want to develop. So at this point, you can be specific. I want to develop as a software engineer or a software developer. And okay, I'm going to just paste this. And these are the some parts which you don't require. And I'm going to see if it's I'm going to remove the parts which are not important. Software engineer. Come up with say requirements that I can delegate to other team members. Make a make also I'm going to randomly ask also make some architecture diagrams. Okay. So how will you know that what GPT is good for what is by like reading a lot. So now, so far, what we were doing is, for example, I have a lot of books on like C, C++, and operating systems and things like that. Okay. So every now and then, and there is also like book on architecture and so on. So every now and then when we try to like upgrade or revise what we are into, for example, I'm a software engineer and I want to keep upgrading myself and then keep on reading things. So I will always go back to these books and the internet and read, look at architecture talks and so on. Okay. Yeah. And then we sort of improve from where we are, right? And then we get new ideas because a lot of people are talking about it. And then you apply the same thing in your own projects and keep on learning. So in today's world, similar thing is happening. So in order to know what GPTs are good and etc., you can see that this is a lot uh, better. Yeah, if you have used other GPTs, so this is pretty good in this. So how DeepSeek is good and why it is good and what are the news related to these GPTs? There is LLM war today. War in the sense that people want to come up with better features and so on. Okay. So that is what happened. So keep an eye on all this news and things like that. Just like you are learning Python today. So just keep eye on all this news and keep watching videos on social media, that is YouTube, and subscribe for certain channels, top channels, and then make sure that when you in a what I do is I have multiple accounts in YouTube. In one of the accounts, I use it only for like it's like if I switch the account, my mind is switched from say normal like guide to like specific to like my career or something like that. So I switch it to that particular channel. So why do you need to have different channels or different accounts? Is because every account has its own context, right? So for example, if you're watching say cooking videos, and then it would suggest cooking videos and so on. So but you have a different account and you start watching technical videos. When you switch to that, your mind is completely on that, and then you get only those videos because you have liked and subscribed to a lot of those channels. So you are actually using Google or Facebook or whatever it is, you are actually configuring these parameters in a way that what you want to get. Like you are actually, it's similar to prompt engineering, but you are pressing somewhere. Okay. So use this technique, like create a different account, and even on Instagram. So subscribe and like only those things which are interested for like couple of days, and then automatically it will suggest new things. So there is no way that you will miss out an information that is like popular and which is happening, right? So that is one of the techniques. So let us get back here, how you can learn about these things. You can see that I gave this and it has like expanded to an extent that people can start working on each of these models. So let us go back, and I have asked additionally for architecture diagrams. You can see that high level system architecture. There is web dashboard, CLI, all these things. Okay. So these are the things that you need to do before writing the code. It is not like you go to like what we did so far, right? You go here and you know you think that you have idea, and you keep asking that I want this script, this script, this script, this script, and you will reach a point where you have forgotten what you did 3 days before or a week before, and there is some problem, and then there are like too many features that you wanted, and now it has grown to an extent that you are unable to manage. So first thing that you need to have, I'm stressing from day one, is mental clarity. How do you get mental clarity out of these GPTs? Is like this. So you brainstorm. In fact, you can do it on a single thing. So even if you ask the same thing in chat GPT, it will come up with similar thing, but not exactly the same thing. So yeah, we're asking different GPTs, which are pretty good in these things. Okay. So yeah, in fact, you can take this. Now you know that, okay, these are the parts, and create a document. Let me just copy it somewhere. Okay. And I'll show you how. Okay. I'll just paste it here. This is just for like reading and verifying this. Now you look at this, and you have, so this is not the end of it, but I'm going to take this and go to I'll show you one what is it called, uh, not the Git Copilot, but something else. I'll show you how things build. Let me take cursor so that you have an introduction to cursor. Is it installed? Okay, yeah. So cursor is similar. I was talking about cursor one day. So it looks like clone a repo, open a project. Okay, so let me create a new folder. So let me call this cyber sec, okay, and then open. So it's an empty folder. Okay. So I can paste the entire thing here and say that here is requirements, requirement doc. I want you to come up with code structure, and I'm going to ask it specifically that do not um, uh, get into say low level code. Just create structure, repo structure, which is repository is nothing but the folder repo structure and files. Okay. So there is a typo, but don't worry about it. I'm going to paste. I hope this works. I'm going to remove some things which are not required. Okay, let us click on this. So this is by default in agent mode. Look how good it is. So I've just asked it to create the folder structure so that my intention is, okay, I'm developing a cyber tech security tool. Probably I may not be able to do everything because it looks like I can do everything, but it's not because of the size of the project. So as a developer who starts the project, because I'm from architectural background, have been working as an architect, so I know what it takes to, what are the steps to build a project, right? So that is what I'm trying to teach. So I know that first thing that you need to create is like high level document, low level design, and then code structure. And then once you have the code structure, then have a POC, and then you can actually delegate this to different teams. So let us see what it happens, what it does. Okay, so Sebastian, so this has come up with a code structure. Okay, now I'm going to ask. Okay, create the code structure. Okay, I help you to create the code structure and so on. It is doing a lot of things which I do not know because, for example, I do not know about UI. I do not know about databases, but it is trying to do something. And it is also going ahead and doing all this API structure because in the requirement document, um, I had we had generated the APIs and all these things. Okay. Yeah, good. So these are, yeah. Now you can see that it is creating these folders. You can see that different teams now can come here and work on these things. So it is still generating. So now it's so people who have been coding so far. So for them now it looks like to do this whatever we did in last like 5-10 minutes. This would take about at least 2 weeks to 1 month time to come up with all these things, right? So now you can do it in like few minutes, but the problem is you should be very specific and you should know which direction you are going, because once you go to a path where you are, yeah, not intended direction, it is very difficult to come back, because again you come back and be clear about your ideas. So the one of the biggest problem that we face today, just like I was talking about Netflix and Doordarshan. So previously we knew everything before LLMs. We knew what we are trying to develop, and we wouldn't do anything which is not required. So now with the advent of these LLMs, what is happening is you are generating things which you completely do not understand, and also things which you may not require. So and then it is difficult to like chop it down and refine it. So that is why you have, it's like you think that if you didn't have Netflix and you had only one channel, you will fantasize about okay, if I had this sort of a tool where you can keep on switching the channels and watch everything that you want. But when you actually open Netflix, you're not watching not watching what you want, right? Because now you are like confused because there are like so many options in front of you, and then you are having a hard time to decide what to watch. So this is called as decision fatigue. So this is what is happening to in today's world. So we are under decision fatigue because you got like everything on your fingertips, and you want to like pick things that works for you. So okay, now it has created these things, right? So we ideated from. So in fact, now we can actually go further and start. I'll just pick up say core here. Um, so we haven't gotten deep into these parts, but I'm going to say that uh, pick core adapters, and let us write some code in Python. Let's see what it does. Okay. Because now it has got a context because I have given a lot of uh, requirements, right? So you can set it has come up with a lot of these things. So now what is my job is to actually go to this code and understand at least glance whether this is matching with whatever I did here. If you download this as a document PDF, you can see that. So now, so now there is like, if you do not understand this and properly designed this. So whatever you generate, of course, you can generate whatever you want, but the thing is, it won't be in line with the architecture and you'll get lost. So now you can see that it is also generating some, a lot of other parts which I'm not aware because I have not got enough time to read. But do not do this, but you just understand the process. So you go to one GPT and brainstorm, and then go to, you can use the same GPT, but idea is get the requirements, and so that you do not deviate. And once you get the requirements, study it for like, give it some good time, and don't hurry up, because if you hurry up, you will end up in a place where you cannot come back. So starting from scratch looks very easy, but when you have a running project and then you want to come back, it's really difficult. Okay, so that is the reason you need to have clear idea about what you are doing, and keep generating the documents using the GPTs, and then like push that into your repository and ask ChatGPT to use the same context. And yeah, you can do that. So you can also see that if you click on add context, there are like several ways of adding contexts. So you can add a GitHub repository, documents, code, and things like that. And then yeah, you'll get used to that if you just you know generate and create one project and deploy it. So you'll understand that it is not easy, because code generation is easy now, but to put things together, it's not as easy as it seems. Of course, it has become like a lot easier. Like 3 months work, you can do it in a couple of days. But you should be your primary skill is not to generate a code now. The primary skill is to come up with this sort of document and refine it. So we just did like in one go, but do not do it in one go. If I'm working on a production project, I would at least go 5 steps here, and reimagine the things, and only then come here, and probably I will reiterate here, and then until I get I'm satisfied. Okay, so and only then I take that and then feed it here to any of the GPTs. You can do the same thing in Copilot as well. So I just wanted to introduce you to a thing called as Cursor. It looks like Copilot. Yeah, it is. It is another product. Okay. Yeah, that's it about prompt engineering, and from how your idea to getting things done with working with GPTs. Okay. So we discussed about the structure, why prompt engineering, and also we looked at an example. So you can keep doing this. It it is actually addictive. So if you start doing it today, you'll probably skip your lunch and keep doing this, because uh, this is like a magic wand you have got, and then create things, right? Yeah, I hope this was interesting. Yeah, so we are um, we have crossed the time. Yeah, have a great day. And if you have any questions, please drop a message, or if you want to meet one on one, feel free to talk to me. And if you have any ideas in which you want to implement, for example, you are facing some problem in your work or personal projects or something like that, you can actually try out something. And if you're stuck, discuss with me, and probably I'll help out to how to like give it a right direction. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Have a great day.